Hey, Mr. Scoots, before I get to Scoots here, I just wanted to say this message, and I'm going to say it again, though, is only for people who listen to the show a lot. You fall asleep fast, you listen all night long, you listen 5+ nights a week. You've been listening longer than a year. You've been listening longer than 3 years. The show changes your life on a regular basis. Those are the people I'm trying to get a hold of, not new listeners, not people that only listen occasionally. So don't worry about it. But if you're in that group, here's what I'm really asking. We need we were trying to do this summer, and we're not going to get there, but we need about 1,000 new supporters in order to cover our shortfalls in advertising. We're trying to do that by our 12-year anniversary, which is in October. And if you're in one of those groups and the show's worth $60 a year, $7 a month to you, or more, please consider supporting the show. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus is where you can do it. Because the thing is, if you're in one of those groups, you're probably the only really, this message goes out, I've done multiple of these. You're really probably the only person, listening and paying attention to me right now. Because most people that have listened longer than 3 years, that listen all night long, that fall asleep fast, they may already be asleep, or they may be tuning me out, or they may be so used to just not hearing what I'm saying. That's the biggest obstacle to making this show and keeping it going, is that most people are just, I guess, used to tuning me out, that the podcast changes their life on a regular basis. If the show doesn't change your life, there's no need to support it, right? It's only if it brings something valuable to your life that we could use some value back. You could do that at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. And if you financially cannot support the show and you can't give up like one other streaming service, use less than Sleep With Me or whatever, you can be a part of this, supporting the show by referring people to the free podcast via our referral program. Not only gets you rewards and to be a part of Sleep With Me Plus, but it's also a huge part of the podcast, but it's also a very small group, even more elite than the people that pay for the podcast. Those people are rebellious, right? Out of 20,000 people who listen to the show almost all the time, there's only a small group of those people who are willing to pay for the podcast, but even a smaller group than that, like 20 or 30 listeners out of millions of listens every month, are willing to be a part of that referral program. So join it, man. You want to have exclusive time with Scooter, get that referral link and share it, or join Sleep With Me Plus. But I appreciate it. And here's more of a ramble, but I realized when I was listening to my ramble that it was a little too rambly. But here's what it comes down to. If this show makes your life better, we really could use your help. You don't need to, you don't have to. But I'm going to keep asking until October because I want to keep making this show for you and everybody else. I love making this podcast. But we do have a pretty big shortfall in advertising coming up here. Well, it's already here, but yeah. So if the show's valuable to you, that's how you pay for it, really, is by supporting it. Thanks. All right, hey, buddy, this is Scoots here. This is a update, and I got let me get a question. This is mostly a message for super listeners, people who want to be engaged with the podcast, people whose lives the podcast improves on a regular basis. So if you're new to the show, don't worry. You could skip this mini-sode if you only listen occasionally, if the podcast isn't that important to you. And I don't mean that, and it's like if you're only going through a hard time right now, you've only been listening to the podcast for a few months, don't worry about it. This is for people who have been listening to podcasts for a while. Well, I guess at any rate, if you say, you know what, this podcast makes the life a lot better, I'm going to listen, then listen. But if you're like, I'm not so sure, don't just skip it. It's no big deal at all. Because this message only goes out to like the 19,000 people who listen to the most episodes of Sleep With Me. So my first question, so you're still here, right? You're a super listener. And, we've talked about defining that. But here's the question, and I want to hear back from you, right? Is what over the past, so we've been doing this campaign since like April 15th, April 18th, I think. May, June, and July. And I'm curious, I really want a real answer. Like, what have you been using more over the last week, the last month, the last 3 months than Sleep With Me? Like, what books have you spent more time with than Sleep With Me? What music have you spent more time with than Sleep With Me? What shows have you spent more time with than with Sleep With Me? What are the things in your life you've been using more than Sleep With Me? And not enjoying more, but what books have you been reading a lot of? What shows have you been watching? What streaming service in particular? Whatever it is that you use as much or more than Sleep With Me, whether it's the past week, the past month. And then, of course, if you're a super listener, are those things you pay for? It's obviously something else that's more valuable or as valuable as Sleep With Me. But do you pay for that thing? And do you pay it to a small business or to a large corporation or some sort of, I don't know. I buy the book. I don't know. Pay the bookstore for it. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. But I'm also really looking at it. It's man, I love this book. Man, I love this show. You know what? This is the best streaming service. I pay $7 a month for it. Way better than the other ones. I cut my main streaming service, my biggest one. And I always do that at the end of the basketball season. But will I start up again next year? I don't know. So I'm looking to hear from that. What do you like more than Sleep With Me? Or what do you use more during the day? More hours or whatever. And if you're a super listener, here's the numbers, right? So we were trying to hit 1,500 people voting to keep the show going, right? Obviously, I'm still here. The episodes are still coming out. So the great news is, out of the 20,000 of you, so you're one of 20,000 people, and more than likely I haven't heard from you, that get the most out of Sleep With Me. You're still listening to this. Out of those 20,000 people, and if you're still listening to me, hearing me, believe it or not, you're probably the only person paying attention and listening to me right now. So you are important, and your voice does make a difference, because the voice of those other people that voted, it made me keep making the show. Now, that's good news, bad news, right? Because out of the 1,500 people, I think we're a little bit over it. 800, as of right now, 807 of the 20,000 people that listen most said, "Hey, keep making the podcast. I'm not willing to keep supporting it. I'm not gonna support it. Not interested in supporting it, or I don't support podcasts, or you're already too." They had a lot of good reasons, but they're not going to support the show, right? But they agreed. Hey, let's agree to disagree. I'm not going to support the show, but I do get a lot out of it. Keep making it. So it's 7 people who they took a big step. They took a big risk. They said, keep making this podcast. I'm not supporting it. That's pretty rebellious. It doesn't necessarily help us keep making the podcast with all the stuff that goes into making the show, but it did tell me this show is valuable and that there's people out there, even if they don't want to support the show, even if they don't think the show needs support, even if they skip the ads, they took the time to do something and say, keep making this podcast. And that really means a lot, because what we're up against isn't the people that won't support the show. It's the people who tune me out or say, I'll support the show later or whatever. So I don't know if you're one of those people that's been putting it off or tuning me out or whatever. I got to figure out how to get over that hump, because 807 people said, I heard you. I'm not going to support the show, but keep making it. Then 722 people said, hey, I'll support the show. Keep making it. And then a handful of people said, hey, I'll support the show through the referral program and start working actively to help people find you through the referral program. So about 750 people are willing to support the show, either through Sleep With Me Plus or through the, that's out of 20,000 people, right? So what that tells me is I'm going to keep pushing, right, to get through. Every time I've done one of these mini-sodes, we've gotten a lot of people saying no thank you, and then a decent amount of people, or a little bit less people, saying I'll support the show. Almost even. I'd love to get it even, right? So we have an equal amount of no thank yous and people saying I'll support the show through the referral program or Sleep With Me Plus. So cool. So I'm going to keep making the podcast. I just got to figure out filling in our budget gaps over the next few months, and we'll do that. I believe now. I was starting to lose hope, to be honest, but once I let people that weren't going to support the show vote, it was like, oh yeah, it's 50-50. Now, it's actually not 50-50 because, we got 800 plus people that say, keep making the show. I'm not going to support it. And about a little bit less than 800 saying, I'll do something. I'll either use my hard-earned time or my hard-earned money to support the show. But then we got about, that's a little bit less than 1,600. It was 1,570, 1,570 people. So that's like, whatever. We got like, what is that? 18,030 people who haven't voted, right? Who haven't voted. I need your vote, right? I mean, if you don't need to, if you're going to vote no thank you, you don't need to because you're well represented, right? What we need is support through the referral program. That's a free way to support the show with your time, or through support. But only if the podcast makes your life better on a regular basis. If the podcast is number 2 or number 3, right? You say, well, first is streaming, streamingjoy.com. I pay $25 a month for that. Second is the great book thing I'm a member of. And then third is Sleep With Me as far as what I consume. I could pay Sleep With Me less than those 2 things. Or I'll refer people to the show. So, I think that's it. Like, I'd love to hear from you. If you're a super listener, what are you a super user of? What other stuff do you use more than Sleep With Me, right? What are the other super things in your life? Let me know. And I'd love to have you support the show, obviously, so we can be here because it's on the backs of super listeners and of people that said, hey, the only reason I'm still here is those no thank yous, really, and the people that supported the show. Because I was losing hope. I was like, man, there's 20,000 people that listen to the podcast. And actually, the stats are eye-opening. From the no thank you people, 60% of the no thank you people have listened to the show longer than 3 years. And then another 25% of people have been listening longer than a year. And most of those people listen almost all the time, like either every night or all night long or fall asleep fast. So definitely if you've listened over 3 years and you're hearing me and listening to me right now, and you're in a place where you could support the show through one of those 2 ways, it'd be a big difference because you're well represented in the people that said, no, I'm not going to support the show, but keep making it. So, that's it. I appreciate it. And, I'm here to... what do you call it? Because, I was going to do the week in review. So I guess I'll switch it up here. Let me bring up the feeds. I'm going to slow it down now. All right. And this goes out. These are all the Sleep With Me Plus feeds. A lot of this stuff will be out in the regular feed soon. If you're a member of Sleep With Me Plus, make sure you have that bonus feed added because what do we have? The Equinox Tour of New York just came out. A Posty Super Deluxe to certain levels. Frank and Victor 14. We've done 14 Frank and Victor stories. That may be, I think we're close to the end. Ray on a Balcony came out. He was from the Westin in Anaheim. Another Posty. Archie McPhee catalogs. Frank 13. Another Posty Super Deluxe. That Bob Floyd came out May 17th. That's getting a lot of love, the Posty Super Deluxe. So that was in the bonus feed. Then the all intro, all night feed, that's for Boar Besties and Boar Friends. We had all intros 1197 to 1200, 1192 to 1196, All Night Boredom Institute, all intros 1188 to 1191, 1184 to 1187. All Night Spiced Friends came out in May, part 2. Then 2 more all intros in All Night Spiced Friends, part 1. That's in the All Intro All Night podcast for then the story only and the ad-free podcast. So full episodes and story only episodes come out at the same time in 2 different podcasts on Sleep With Me Plus. What do we got here? We got IKEA Sleep Report, Pitch and Curry and Moranis, Smurf Concept Album. That one, we bumped that up. I just recorded that a couple weeks ago. I didn't know there was a Smurf movie coming out. So I said, Rusty, we got to move that thing. Rose from Sleeping with Doctor Who. 80s Week, Great British Bake Off. Lentils and Plastic Toys, on a Spelunk, all intro for the 4th of July. That came out in the public feed. Jenny username Generator. Geek Bezos, Big Sky. 11? Wow, that's already at 11, eh? Fistful of Datas. Bernie the Butterfly Cat on Yarn. That was another one I enjoyed. Japanese Week, Hamlet with Brainbots, Horizons with Ray, Balcony Brick Builder. That was part of our support for Trevor Project and Orlando Park Stop fundraiser. So that's what we've been doing this summer, putting people to sleep, working hard. I do have some stuff coming up, so personally, while we'll still keep putting episodes out on a regular basis, I will not be available to be in touch for most of August. I got a couple things going on personally, but don't worry, we got everything ready to go. I think we already have August and September scheduled and up. So if you try to get a hold of me from July 30th to September 2nd, I probably will be harder to get a hold of. Just gonna get a bunch of personal stuff going on, but it's the best time because then I'll get busy in September with the show again. So thanks for listening to the show. Whether you support it on Sleep With Me Plus, you're one of our snore squatters supporting the show on the referral program. You voted no, thank you. Thank you for voting no, thank you. Even though it's not easy for me to. I like the idea of us agreeing to disagree. Just like the people that don't ever listen to the podcast again, the fact that you did more than 18,500 people that the shows that are like super listeners, the fact that you took the time to vote no means the show will still exist. So those of you that support the show and those of you who voted not to support the show is here. I really would have I was like, man, I don't think this show's sustainable. Like if there's 20,000 people that listen all the time, like all these people have listened longer than 3 years, that their lives are changed by the podcast. Those of you that voted no, I mean, I knew the supporters, that means a lot. I'm not trying to take away from the people that actually support the show, but those of you said no, I mean, I didn't quite realize it was a 50-50 split, but that's a good sign that, to keep making the show and to keep asking for support, like in just as direct way as I can, even though it does create strong feelings in other people. The strongest feeling is that people want this podcast to be around for them and for other people to fall asleep to. So that's what I'm here to do, and I appreciate it. Good night, everybody.